equals the year was 2157, and humanity had finally begun to grasp its potential. The gleaming spires of New Singapore rose into the crimson Martian sky, while fusion-powered vessels darted between Earth and the outer colonies with casual regularity. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Orbital Defense Station Aegis, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching vessels. "They're not even trying to mask their engine signatures," Lieutenant Park muttered beside her. "Either very confident or very foolish." The Nexar Dominion's fleet had appeared at the edge of the Kuiper Belt 3 days ago. Their ships were massive crystalline structures that seemed to defy conventional physics, trailing streams of exotic particles in their wake. Their first transmission had been simple: submit or be destroyed. Humanity's response had been equally succinct, but far more measured. "We welcome peaceful contact, but we will defend ourselves if threatened." The message had been accompanied by a comprehensive data package about Earth's achievements, their mastery of quantum computing, their breakthroughs in dark energy manipulation, their flourishing colonies across the solar system. The Nexar had responded with laughter. Their high commander, a being who called himself Virax the Magnificent, had dismissed humanity's warnings with spectacular arrogance. "Your species is barely out of its cradle," he had proclaimed. "We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your technology is primitive, your defense is laughable. Submit now, and we will be merciful." What the Nexar didn't know, what humanity had carefully hidden from all long-range scans, was that Earth's primitive technology included innovations that would have made even the most advanced civilizations pause. The quantum defense grid, powered by microsingularities and controlled by fifth-generation AI systems, remained invisible to conventional detection methods. The swarms of nanite-enhanced fighters, dormant within the asteroid belt, waited silently for activation. Admiral Chen had spent 15 years helping to build these defenses. She knew humanity's strength wasn't in brute force or overwhelming numbers. It was in innovation, adaptation, and the ability to think beyond conventional limitations. "They're approaching the outer marker," Lieutenant Park announced. The holographic display showed the Nexar fleet, 57 capital ships, and over 200 support vessels, moving into an attack formation. Chen activated the fleet-wide command channel. Her voice, calm and steady, reached every human ship and station in the solar system. "This is Admiral Chen. The Nexar have made their intentions clear. They believe us weak because we offered peace. They mistake diplomacy for fear, restraint for inability." She paused, watching as the enemy fleet drew closer. "We will show them their error." The Nexar ships crossed the designated line, their weapons charging. High Commander Virax's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Your time has ended, humans. Accept your new masters or face extinction." Admiral Chen's reply was simple: "Computer, activate Protocol Prometheus." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses stirred to life. In the asteroid belt, thousands of fighter craft powered up, their quantum-linked pilots stepping into neural interface chambers. The defense grid hummed with energy as micro-singularities spun up to full power. And in laboratories and research stations throughout human space, scientists and engineers prepared to deploy technologies that had been developed in secret for decades. The Nexar fleet advanced, unaware that they were about to learn a costly lesson about underestimating humanity. Their sensors showed them what they expected to see: a handful of orbital platforms, a few dozen warships, nothing that could possibly stand against their mighty armada. They were about to discover just how wrong they were. As the first Nexar ships moved into firing range, Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. The real battle was about to begin, and with it, the Nexar would learn what humanity was truly capable of. They would learn why Earth had survived countless challenges, why humans had spread across their solar system, not through conquest, but through innovation and determination. "All units," she commanded, "execute Defense Pattern Delta. Show them what happens when you ignore humanity's warnings." The space around Earth shimmed as stealth fields dropped, revealing the true extent of humanity's defensive capabilities. The Nexer fleet was about to discover that they hadn't found an easy conquest. They had walked into a trap of their own making. The Nexer fleet's first volley of plasma torpedoes dissipated harmlessly against quantum shields they hadn't known existed. High Commander Virax's expression of smug superiority vanished as his tactical displays erupted with new signatures, thousands of them, materializing from what had appeared to be empty space. "Impossible," he hissed, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "Their technological level cannot support this level of advancement." But the evidence was undeniable. The quantum defense grid had activated, creating a web of interlocking fields that could redirect energy weapons back at their sources. Swarms of autonomous fighters emerged from their hiding places in the asteroid belt, their AI cores linked in perfect synchronization through quantum entanglement networks. Admiral Chen watched from Aegis Station as her carefully orchestrated defense plan unfolded. "Launch the Chimera squadrons," she ordered. "Let's show them what human ingenuity really looks like." The Chimera fighters were humanity's masterpiece of military engineering. Vessels that could reconfigure their structure on the fly, adapting to enemy attacks in real time. Their pilots, connected through neural interfaces, could react at superhuman speeds thanks to AI augmentation. The first wave of chimeras engaged the Nexer's front line. As the aliens fired their weapons, the human ships simply changed form, their nano-engineered hulls flowing like liquid metal to create optimal defensive configurations. Return fire came not from conventional weapons, but from focused quantum singularities that disrupted the very fabric of space around the Nexer vessels. "This is impossible," Virax raged across the command channel. "You are lying about your capabilities, using trickery and deception." "No, Commander," Chen replied calmly. "We simply understand something you don't. True strength lies not in size or numbers, but in innovation and adaptation." The battle unfolded across the solar system. The Nexer's crystalline ships, impressive as they were, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Their energy weapons were caught in quantum fields and redirected. Their shields, designed to resist conventional attacks, proved useless against weapons that manipulated fundamental forces. Lieutenant Park's hands flew across his control station. "Admiral, the Nexer are attempting to regroup. They're pulling back to the orbit of Mars." Chen nodded. "As expected, they're following standard military doctrine. Retreat, regroup, analyze the enemy's capabilities. But they're about to discover that we've prepared for that too." She activated a secure channel to the Martian defense grid. "This is Admiral Chen. Execute Operation Spartacus." The surface of Mars came alive. What the Nexer had dismissed as simple mining operations revealed themselves as massive defense installations. Quantum beam emitters, powered by microsingularity reactors, emerged from beneath the red soil. The seemingly primitive human colonies were actually hardened military bunkers, hosting swarms of defensive drones. "You see, Commander Virax," Chen broadcast, "we learned long ago that the best defense isn't always visible. Humanity survived countless challenges not by building bigger weapons, but by thinking differently." The Nexer fleet found itself caught between two forces, the pursuing Earth fleet and the activated Martian defenses. Their attempts to jump to faster-than-light travel were thwarted by quantum interference fields that humanity had secretly installed throughout the solar system. "Your choice is simple," Chen continued. "You can continue this battle, knowing now what we're truly capable of, or you can withdraw. We'll even provide you safe passage out of our system, something I doubt you would have offered us." Virax's response was predictable. The Nexer's pride wouldn't allow them to retreat, not from what they had dismissed as an inferior species. Their fleet reformed into an attack pattern, crystalline ships glowing with power as they prepared for another assault. Admiral Chen sighed. "Very well. Lieutenant Park, signal all units. Initiate Containment Protocol Delta. Let's show them our next surprise." As the Nexer fleet advanced, humanity's true technological mastery was about to be revealed. The quantum defense grid wasn't just a defensive tool. It was about to demonstrate its offensive capabilities. And in research stations across the solar system, scientists prepared to deploy technologies that had been deemed too advanced to reveal to the galaxy at large. The real battle was about to begin. And with it, the Nexer would learn why humanity had chosen to hide its true capabilities for so long. They were about to discover that Earth's warnings hadn't been diplomatic niceties. They had been mercy. The space between Mars and Earth had become a quantum battlefield. The Nexer fleet's crystalline ships sparkled like deadly constellations as they launched their most devastating assault yet. But Admiral Chen had been waiting for this moment, the moment when desperation would drive them to commit their full force. "All vessels, execute maneuver Ouroboros," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension filling Aegis Station's command center. "Quantum grid nodes, prepare for full synchronization." Lieutenant Park looked up from his station, eyes wide. "Admiral, Ouroboros hasn't been tested outside simulations. The power requirements alone are exactly why we built those micro-singularity reactors," Lieutenant Chen finished. "Sometimes the best way to win isn't to match force with force, but to change the rules of engagement entirely." Across the solar system, humanity's quantum defense grid began to pulse with new energy. The micro-singularities powering each node spun faster, their gravitational fields carefully controlled and synchronized. What appeared to be random defensive positions suddenly revealed their true purpose. They weren't just defensive installations, they were points in a vast, geometric pattern. High Commander Virax noticed the change too late. "What trickery is this?" His voice boomed across the command channels. "Your defense grid. It's moving." "Not moving, Commander," Chen replied. "Dancing." The quantum grid nodes began to resonate in perfect harmony, creating overlapping fields of distorted space-time. The Chimera squadrons, their pilots linked through neural interfaces, moved in precise formation through these distortions. To the Nexer, it appeared as if the human ships were in multiple places simultaneously, because, in a way, they were. "Impossible." Virax rage. "You cannot have mastered quantum superposition at this scale." But humanity had done more than that. The quantum grid wasn't just creating spatial distortions, it was weaving them into a complex pattern, a web of altered reality that the Nexer fleet had unwittingly entered. Each attempt to target a human ship or installation only created more confusion as quantum uncertainty turned probability itself into a weapon. In the command center, Lieutenant Park monitored the energy readings with growing amazement. "The grid is stable, Admiral. Quantum resonance at 97% and holding." The Nexer fleet, they're trapped in the probability maze. Chen nodded. This was the moment she had trained for. The culmination of decades of secret research and preparation. Signal the Artemis platforms. Begin the quantum cascade. Hidden in the dark side of Luna, the Artemis platforms were humanity's greatest technological achievement. Devices capable of manipulating quantum fields on a massive scale. As they activated, the space around the Nexer fleet began to shimmer with strange energies. The alien ships found their crystalline structures resonating with frequencies they couldn't control. Their advanced sensors, designed to detect conventional threats, were overwhelmed by quantum signals that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Their mighty weapons, capable of destroying planets, were rendered useless by fields of probability that made it impossible to target anything with certainty. "What are you?" Virax's voice had lost its arrogant edge, replaced by something approaching awe. How can a species so young possess such mastery over reality itself? Chen's response was measured. "We are humanity, Commander. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us 1,000 different ways. We survived not by being the strongest or the fastest, but by learning to understand the fundamental laws of the universe and bend them to our will." The Nexer fleet's formation began to break apart as ships lost coherence with each other, their crystalline structures vibrating at frequencies that threatened to tear them apart. But Chen knew this wasn't just about winning a battle, It was about sending a message to the galaxy at large. "Attention Nexer fleet," she broadcast. "What you're experiencing is a controlled demonstration. We could have initiated this protocol the moment you entered our system, but we chose to show restraint. We offered peace, which you rejected. We showed mercy, which you mistook for weakness." The quantum cascade reached its peak, and the Nexer ships found themselves completely immobilized, held in a web of probabilistic spacetime that they couldn't comprehend, let alone escape. "Now," Chen continued, "you have a choice. You can accept our original offer of peaceful contact, or you can witness the full extent of what humanity is capable of. Choose carefully, Commander. Your next decision will determine not just the fate of your fleet, but your species' place in the galactic community." As she waited for Virax's response, Chen reflected on the irony of the situation. The Nexer had come to subjugate what they thought was a primitive species, only to discover that humanity had advanced far beyond their understanding. The question now wasn't whether humanity would win, but what they would do with that victory. High Commander Virax's response came after 3 long minutes of silence. His once proud voice now carried an edge of desperation. You planned this from the beginning. The defensive posture, the seemingly limited technology, it was all a deception." "Not deception, Commander," Admiral Chen corrected. "Prudence. Humanity learned long ago that true power lies not in displaying strength, but in knowing when to reveal it." The quantum cascade had left the Nexer fleet suspended in a probabilistic web, their crystalline ships caught in a state of quantum uncertainty. But Chen knew that immobilization alone wouldn't be enough. The galaxy needed to understand why challenging humanity had been a grave mistake. "Lieutenant Park, initiate Phase 2, she ordered. "Let's show them what our quantum technology can really do." Across the solar system, a new type of vessel emerged from stealth fields. These weren't the Chimera fighters or defensive platforms. They were something entirely different. Sleek, almost organic in appearance, the quantum interceptors represented the pinnacle of human engineering. "These ships," Chen broadcast to the Nexer fleet, "operate on principles your scientists haven't even theorized yet. They don't just manipulate spacetime. They exist partially outside of conventional reality." The interceptors moved with impossible grace, passing through the quantum web as if it didn't exist. Their hulls rippled with patterns that hurt the eye to look at, a visual manifestation of their partial existence in other dimensions. "Quantum interceptors in position," Park reported. "Reality anchors stable at 99.9%. Chen nodded. "Begin the extraction." The interceptors activated their primary systems, and the space around the Nexer fleet began to change. It wasn't just the visible spectrum. Fundamental forces themselves were being altered. The crystalline structure of the Nexer ships, their proudest technological achievement, began to resonate at frequencies they couldn't control. What are you doing to us?" Virax demanded, real fear in his voice for the first time. "We're showing you the difference between using technology and understanding it," Chen replied. "Your crystalline ships are beautiful, Commander, but did you ever truly understand how they work? Did you ever question why crystal structures can channel energy the way they do?" The interceptors continued their work, their quantum fields interacting with the very molecular structure of the Nexer vessels, not to destroy them. That would have been too simple, too brutal. Instead, they were doing something far more sophisticated. "Your ship's crystalline matrices are being temporarily phase-shifted," Chen explained. "We're not destroying them. We're showing you how little you understand about their fundamental nature." The effect was stunning. The mighty Nexer ships, each one a kilometer-long marvel of crystalline engineering, began to transform. Their structures didn't break or shatter. Instead, they reconfigured themselves into new patterns, forms that even their creators hadn't known were possible. Lieutenant Park's console lit up with new data. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the Nexer fleet. Their power cores are evolving." "As expected," Chen said. "Sometimes, to win a war, You don't need to destroy your enemy. You just need to help them see their own potential. The quantum interceptors had done more than just immobilize the Nexer fleet. They had initiated a controlled phase transition in the crystalline structures, revealing properties that the Nexer themselves had never discovered. Their ships weren't being destroyed. They were being transformed into something more advanced. Commander Virax, Chen broadcast, what you're experiencing isn't an attack. It's an awakening. Your crystalline technology had potential that you never fully explored. We're showing you just a fraction of what's possible when you truly understand the quantum nature of reality. The transformation continued, and with it came understanding. The Nexer fleet's weapons systems hadn't been disabled. They had evolved beyond their original purpose. Their shields hadn't been breached. They had transcended their original limitations. The choice before you now is simple, Chen continued. You can cling to your old understanding and remain trapped in this quantum web, or you can accept that there are depths to reality that your civilization has yet to explore. We offer not just peace, but partnership. The galaxy is far stranger and more wonderful than you imagined, Commander. Humanity didn't become advanced by conquering others. We advanced by understanding the true nature of existence itself. As the quantum interceptors completed their work, the Nexer fleet hung in space, their ships now shimmering with new possibilities. They had come seeking to conquer what they thought was a primitive species, only to discover that humanity had surpassed them in ways they hadn't even imagined possible. The next move would be theirs, but regardless of their choice, the message was clear. Humanity's warnings should have been heeded, not because of superior firepower or military might, but because they understood the universe in ways that their would-be conquerors had never dreamed possible. The silence that followed Admiral Chen's offer seemed to stretch across the vastness of space itself. The transformed Nexer fleet hung in the void, their crystalline ships now pulsing with new forms of energy that their own sensors could barely comprehend. High Commander Virax's next words would determine not just the outcome of this conflict, but potentially the future of galactic civilization. Your demonstration, Virax finally spoke, his voice carrying a new tone of humility, has shown us something we never expected to encounter. We thought we understood the fundamental nature of reality. We believed our crystalline technology represented the pinnacle of advancement. That's the greatest trap any civilization can fall into, Chen responded. The belief that they've reached the summit of understanding. Lieutenant Park's console chimed with new data. Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the Nexer fleet. Their ships, they're beginning to resonate with the quantum field in ways we hadn't predicted. Chen smiled. This was the moment she had hoped for, the moment when understanding would transcend conflict. The transformed Nexer ships weren't just accepting the changes humanity had initiated. They were beginning to explore their new capabilities independently. You see, Commander, Chen broadcast, what we've given you isn't just a demonstration of our power. It's a key to understanding reality as we do. Your crystalline technology always had this potential. You just needed to see it from a different perspective. The space around the Nexer fleet rippled with quantum possibilities as their ships began to experiment with their new capabilities. What had started as a hostile invasion was transforming into something unprecedented in galactic history, a moment of shared technological enlightenment. There is something you should know, Virax said, his tone thoughtful. In all our centuries of expansion, in all our encounters with other species, we never imagined. He paused, seemingly struggling with the implications of what he had learned. How long have you truly been watching the galaxy? Chen exchanged a knowing look with Lieutenant Park. The moment of truth had arrived, the revelation that humanity had been preparing for centuries to share. What you're really asking, Commander, is why a supposedly young species possesses such advanced understanding of quantum mechanics and reality manipulation. Chen replied. The truth is, humanity isn't quite what we've led the galaxy to believe. She activated a secure channel to the Artemis platforms, initiating a carefully planned sequence around Earth, Mars, and throughout the solar system, Ancient technological signatures began to emerge from carefully maintained stealth fields, structures that dated back millions of years, preserved and studied by humanity throughout their long evolution. We didn't develop this technology recently, Commander. We inherited it. Earth was once home to a civilization far more advanced than either of us, the ones we call the predecessors. They didn't die out or leave. They transcended physical reality itself. Before they did, they left behind their knowledge, encoded in ways that would only become accessible to species that evolved the right way, species that developed wisdom alongside intelligence. The Nexer fleet's sensors, enhanced by their recent transformation, could now detect these ancient signatures. They could see the true extent of Earth's technological heritage. Not weapons or warships, but tools for understanding and manipulating the fundamental forces of the universe. Humanity's achievement, Chen continued, wasn't in developing this technology. It was in proving ourselves worthy of it. We learned to value understanding over power, cooperation over conquest. That's why the predecessors' knowledge revealed itself to us gradually, as we demonstrated our capacity to use it wisely. Virax's response was barely above a whisper. All this time, we thought we were the advanced ones. We thought we were bringing order to a chaotic galaxy. But we were children playing with toys we didn't understand. Not children, Chen corrected. Explorers, just like us. The only difference is the path we chose to take. She paused, considering her next words carefully. The offer I made earlier still stands, Commander. Humanity is willing to share what we've learned. Not because we seek to dominate or control, but because we believe that true advancement comes from understanding, not conquest. The quantum web surrounding the Nexer fleet began to dissolve, not because humanity had deactivated it, but because the transformed ships had learned to exist in harmony with it. They were taking their first steps into a larger understanding of reality. We accept your offer, Virax declared, his voice carrying the weight of a civilization's turning point. Not as conquered subjects, but as students eager to learn, and perhaps, in time, as allies. Admiral Chen smiled as she looked out at the transformed fleet. This was why humanity had hidden their true capabilities for so long, not out of fear, but waiting for the right moment to help guide other civilizations toward a greater understanding of existence itself. Lieutenant Park, she said, send word to the Council. Tell them Operation Enlightenment was a success. The galaxy is finally ready for the next stage of evolution. As the quantum interceptors began to power down, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had won their greatest victory not through destruction, but through illumination. The age of conquest was ending. The age of understanding was about to begin.